Hi, welcome. You're still watching GTV Breakfast. Unfortunately, it's a very terrible state of affairs. When we say Galamsey, people think it's over, nobody talks about them again. But we're not even looking at the act itself, we're looking at the repercussion, the effects of Galamsey on our water bodies. And so traveling from Apiete in the western region towards Accra, we decided to sample every water body on the way, just to show the effect of it, because we have seen firsthand what is ongoing. And so right next to me is a bottle containing water fetched from here. And this is the Bonsa River. Of course, children around the river don't have a choice. It's a Sunday morning, and if there's nothing to do, a swim in the river wouldn't be bad. And so yes, they are having a dip in the water. But what these kids don't know is this water isn't just a dirty water. It is a contaminated water from chemicals washed into the water from the activity of Galamsey. This really is not the best. And if you can see in the distance, I see a young man very well having a shower, not necessarily bathing inside the water, but with a cup scooping the water and pouring over himself. This is a young man having a shower, enjoying the water as anybody else will do. And that in itself isn't one that can be overlooked because it is really the worry is the contamination in the water that is causing the problem. And that is what nationally there must be a concise effort to deal with, or else this can become something else for us. We're still traveling from Apiate towards Accra, and we will be sampling all the water bodies on the way to tell the story of how Galamsey really is changing the state of our water bodies. This water body, 2 years ago when I was here, wouldn't be this muddy, but today, nothing to write home about really. It has gone from bad in that state 2 years ago to worse as it is today. And still, there are those who would say that Galamsey really isn't something we should worry about. Well, I don't know about you, but I am worried because this water isn't staying with the people of Bonsa in the western region. It would travel all the way through till eventually it finds itself in a water body that supplies water to the nearest water treatment plant where you are. And that is really the problem. Let's all work together to stop it, nip it in the bud once and for all. Yes, it's taken 2 years, but we can still do something about it. And so our journey from Apiete near Bogoso, as I mentioned earlier, took us through parts of Afamasa Kotom, Onyipehiam, Boa, Akukubidi Bro. We came to Bonsa, and right after Bonsa, we journeyed west towards south. Again, so we came to a town called Ewusiejo, where the river Butre travels down south into the sea. Interesting, but unfortunate it will be that the water in Ewusiejo is no different from what we encountered around Bonsa. I am going to get into the water and fetch a bit to show the difference between that and what we fetched from the Bonsa water body. And here I go, dip down into the water, and I have a cup full. And this is what I am scooping up to show my cameras what it is. You may not agree that Galamsey has a certain effect, because on your pocket, Galamsey has been really very kind to you. But spare a thought for the many who live along the banks of these water bodies, who depend on them for a livelihood. Again, I'd want to show you a certain sharp contrast between what is rainwater collected close to the Ewusiejo water as it flows down south. And if this is rainwater collected, which should make its way back for the rocks next to them, it would have made its way into the main water and flowed down south with it. And this, to my left, as you can see, is what Galamsey has done to it. Then one wonders what would have happened if this rainwater had gone through the mainstream and flown down south without the effect of Galamsey on the water. You may not be worried about it, but I am. You may not care, but I do. And Ghana does. And so, even more is the urgent call to put a stop to this. This cannot be water. Remember, a child born 5 years ago may never have the opportunity to see the water as clean as I showed earlier, as collected to the side of the rock by rainfall. What that means is we have denied this child a good opportunity to depend on this water as their grandparents did years ago. Maybe their parents did, but they would never have the opportunity, thanks to Galamsey. Uncle Pocho, Bowdin Chem Kaka. I am Woodin Mawaphobia. Andrews Okran. Andrews, you will say Josies here, a hanify. Pocho, you see, if your man the name Mortina, or to then. I make your man the name Mortina, I am a fair. Bantin is you on your face, my name, your fetching data. Oh, that person, no, actions now, one can say a book, but Bernard. A guardian swim with that. Oh, make one with that. But Bernard, well, when you're a namana, Sassona. And I'm different. Oh, Bob and the man at the movie yet, and then I charged it all the same. At this time, you move, Papa. Inti say egwale mi daza na no obotumu abade anu musuda ma anu mukuda ti say make de mbafra ba wo won nde wonya de me kwan no na wo hu nsui ma na enyi ma ote no oda kogin a enyime ya adwen no ya adwen pa no ya adwen ye fi bogoso na ye bepui ha yenyime kire akra na yehwe insunsu ahura yehye okwem ina ma oti adzukor ina ibodu biara wo budin oni Galamsey ewusi edwo ha wo ye Galamsey wa ha esojo ha wo ye Galamsey ni land mu yi land ni land yo ye Galamsey nti ibi wa ye ni Galamsey na no nsunsuado wa abotio wa hede no otewoden wa dwen madami pokro no otedan I mean, open the mamma mood there, paying Funanka or what the milk one washing made money then, of course, because Mission Fatuna, Mamericano, I shall permit sooner, or to Sabia, ever seen him soon ID. And that 3 days, Mokot town. Mokot the Moko and Sunan Quajin. Oh, yeah, Promdo. I promedo. Okay, you know the one. Okay, would you and then Quajin? Now, why do you want break for the water and so what the other? Why you want to break or that side? There is a soldier butcher and one want to break. A man, one not sure one a man paying Funaka so then. Walk home, Madasi. On your easy, Madasi. May you watch Papa there, a boy, Yami, watch him not there. Same paying full, what come on, who ye are. The Madi Butte name Basanwa, the Fumbium. Wow. Inti ami magini mi de insu na wato na kakra wa kan na na wato no hefi im nti im munzi wa go kra na za ahoro wow na za yankada nsu ni yu oye bad ye pay na won inti wow wow. So I've been engaging Mr. Okran, who's giving me a good background to the water, whereas I thought earlier that the little I saw on the side was water collected or rainwater collected to the side. No, is what he's just told me. Actually, this is part of the main water body But this has separated itself from the stream flowing downstairs. And so when they come to have a shower in the main water, they end up scooping a bit of that to wash their body once again from the filth collected from the mainstream. Not just washing, but also when they wash their clothes, they use that to rinse it in order to have the clothes back in the state in which they formerly had it. Really, for me, it's a pain to think that the water itself, nature has separated it to tell the story of what it would have been if some work is done in halting Galamsey. Ewusejo doesn't have land, and so they don't do Galamsey. The people who live here once depended on this water. Now they have to depend on Ghana water to produce water for them. How long are we going to continue doing this to ourselves? When are we going to say enough is enough and put a stop to Galamsey? It will take you and myself to ensure that our leaders really stand up and get counted. Our journey continues down south. In my last encounter at Butre, where we spoke to Mr. Okran, Mr. Okran made reference, particular reference, to this water body you can see behind me in Apramdo. And he particularly made a certain emphatic statement that this water has remained somehow clean, not because there isn't any issues to do with Galamsey around the water body, but the water has a certain neighbor in the military. The 2BN, the 2 Battalion base is not far from where I am coming to you from, and so they keep an eye on the water to ensure that, one, people don't go working close to the water. Number two, you would not even have a chance anywhere around this neighborhood to even bring your chamfan or whatever machines you have to work with in order to try to start anything like Galamsey anywhere along the stretch of this water. And that is how this water has been kept clean. And it is also testament to what can come out of conscious leadership when we offer or when we afford one to ourselves. Our journey continues towards Accra, down south, as we look at the various water bodies along the stretch of the road all the way from Bogoso to Accra. So the journey continues, but as we traveled, the heavens have opened on us along the way. And this is Biposo, and we have just stopped to also fetch the water from Biposo and compare to the various waters we've seen along the way. Remember, we stopped by Bonsa, we also stopped by Butre, we stopped by the River Huin, and once again, we are going to, as usual, I will fetch the water from here to compare to what we have in the past and see how it's going. You can clearly see the heavens have opened, and so I'm getting slightly soaked up or wet, but yeah, I will still manage to fetch the water from Biposo, where clearly there is water, but it isn't one that you'd be glad to do anything with. Interestingly, this water is what the people who live around here depend on for a lot of things. As we got into the water, we spotted a young man who is making his way down to try and get some shower in the water. I found out from him what he's coming down for, and clearly he has come to take a shower. And imagine someone taking a shower in this. This is their only source of water. They can't necessarily pay Ghana Water that much to get enough water for everything. And so this substitutes what water they get from the Ghana Water treatment plant around here. It's a shame, but somebody must listen. Somebody must take a bold and a giant step to help stop Galamsey. Not only is this going to be difficult to bath through, but also it serves as drinking water. And as it travels further down, clearly we know there's trouble ahead. Mpocho ahenu here negwar. In Subia in baby I can you home. Howard. You were top here. Na in see de be an immortal. Well, if it were wound, in whom they see name at order. Iye na se obenede na yen de zugwa na nkotin oyo oto den Galamsey fun wo yedwuma wo top ho nti ibilie Galamsey na we nya ska to no kotokum na wo le blend yimpa ne idwe no ho den adawa no stop on madawase. All right, so the journey continues. It's 1846 hours, and we've been traveling from Bogoso, Apiati, near Bogoso in the western region, on our way to Accra, where we have given you a series of water bodies that's been negatively impacted by Galamsey on the way, and we've shown you a variety. Where we currently are is the boundary between the central region and Accra, and on this bridge behind me is the river Ochi Emisa, where obviously it has also had some effect of these activities affecting it, and so the water quality isn't the best anybody can write home about. Indeed, the heavens have closed up on us, and so we're unable to bring you much detail from the water, but we can tell you from what we have seen the day before that this water really, compared to the rest, you can easily and safely say it is just about the same. The message is one: stop Galamsey now. We're continuing to Accra, and when we get to Accra, we'll bring you the tail end of it. Keep watching, keep traveling with us. All right, over too soon, the journey from Apiate near Bogoso to Accra has come to an end here at the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Just a quick reminder to what we got up to. We looked at the various water bodies along the way and how Galamsey has changed the total dynamics and the total nature of the water from what was once really very clean water and dependable to what is currently now very dirty and dangerous. And so to my very extreme left, we have the rivers Bonsa. Right from there, we stopped over at the river Butre, and then finally is the Pra rivers. I must say they weren't the only water bodies we stopped at. In between, we stopped at some, those we cannot necessarily get down into. You will witness that they are the ones we mentioned and talked about and brought you shots from them to let you or to tell you what they also look like. But clearly, the evidence here suggests that we are not out of the woods yet, and Galamsey is the one common denominator which has changed all these waters from what they are, dependable, clean for their environs, and currently dirty and dangerous for the people who live and depend on the waters. Please, it may sound like an old wives' tale, but it really isn't. It is Galamsey. Next time you take your machines into the forest, think about the people whose lives you're going to affect downstream and spare a thought. Thank you very much. This is where we draw the curtain to an end on Galamsey.